both the ring muscle up and the bar muscle up need a strong hip drive. One of my favorite ways to do this is the Russian kettlebell swing. The Russian kettlebell swing teaches us violent hip extension. The joke in my gym is we're trying to create power. Chase will love that one. What I need us to do is make sure that we are hinging, feeling the hamstring engagement as tight as possible. This is called a muscle stretch reflex, and this muscle stretch reflex helps create potential energy so that we can use it for whatever we're doing, be it the kettlebell swing or the muscle up. Remember, this skill is only going to work if you focus on a violent hip extension. I like to use the heaviest kettlebell you feel confident swinging. What we're going to do is start with the kettlebell in front of us like we're hiking a football. The goal is to get this kettlebell as high up in the hips as possible. If we have space in our hips, we're losing power and creating a bit more tension on the back. I start with the kettlebell in front of me, pulling it into my hips using these lats. As a bonus, this lat pull is going to help you with some of this muscle up drive. So we're here. Kettlebell's in front of me. I feel tension on my hamstrings. Load, using my lats pulling into my hips, and squeeze until that kettlebell comes up to the eye level. A common miss on the kettlebell swing is that the kettlebell leaves before my hips extend. I want you to think of this kind of like a catapult where I'm loading my hips and it does not leave until my quads and hips have extended. Remember, we are trying to transfer this idea from the kettlebell to the kipping dynamic movements of both the ring and the bar. Now let's talk about multiple reps. Kettlebell comes in, I swing up, then I come back to my hips and repeat. But it's important that the kettlebell comes down and I stay straight, and I stay straight, and I stay straight until the last moment in which I load. Again, we are trying to use this muscle stretch reflex, and it doesn't work if we load too early. My final note, in the effort of creating as much power as possible, we have to have our core braced. And I love breathing for bracing. So think about the kettlebell coming in as I breathe in, and then as I go out, you can breathe out like I'm blowing a balloon. You can have you can have something that is going to brace this core as the kettlebell comes up, creating as much power as possible. I'm going to give you 5 great reps. Kettlebell in front. Breathe in. And goal is power. On your next kipping bar muscle up or your next kipping ring muscle up, if you are struggling with hip extension, try some heavy kettlebell swings first, and it just might help. If this idea is something that you think is going to help you, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.